The 1991 Toyota MR2 is an absolute legend on its own. A little acceleration test. But let's go through the list of upgrades that we've put on this, including a new exhaust. We already had an excessively illegal exhaust. Now it's got a new exhaust and a long list of upgrades, making this truly legendary vehicle more refined, more interesting to drive, more precise. So let's go through all those upgrades and let you hear that exhaust. We've got a long list of things to cover on this vehicle, so let's put the pedal to the metal and get started. But right before we get started, give us a like, hit that thumbs up button as we cover all the over $20,000 we put into this, including its now second modified exhaust. Let's check it out. Test out second here to 80. Third pulls like crazy. Fourth has trouble getting into fourth with those synchros. Now, don't get me wrong, this JDM Classic is an absolute joy, but it does lack a little bit of sharpness and power from the get-go. So we've thrown on some Firehawk Indy 500 tires. We've changed the suspension, so if you get an older vehicle, do consider changing the shocks. The springs were fine, but we've changed the shocks. An upgrade higher would have been coilovers, but we're quite pleased with going with some upgraded shocks on the vehicle while we were doing the tires and wheels. Now, we've done a lot here on the engine, and you can kind of get a little sneak peek right there. This is its fourth engine, folks. Now, the brakes haven't been upgraded, and that's probably one of the first things you want to do. The brakes are relatively weak on these vehicles. But before we go too far, let's start it up and hear its latest upgrade and go through the long list of upgrades that this vehicle has. All right, let's get it started up. 135,000 kilometers, not miles. And this is the T-top, the original GTS with the suede. We've thrown in bride seats for more support. Here's that new exhaust. A lot quieter, less violent than before, but still giving a nice sound. Actually providing a bit of a deep gurgle for, surprisingly, for a four-cylinder. Now let's see what we've done to the engine and what we've done to help this vehicle actually drive better beyond changing the shocks. Now this legendary JDM Classic, whether you get the right-hand drive or the left-hand drive, if you modify the engines, they're gonna get actually pretty weak. So we've gone with ARP studs in the heads, and the stud with metal head gasket will help not blow out the gasket and mix radiator fluid with your engine. We've gone with coil unplug, ignition. You got the P-flow here. We've added this bar for stability, trying to do everything to avoid snap oversteer, but just smart driving is the true way to avoid snap oversteer. We've thrown in extra large piping and 3-inch piping, and we've got tucked away in there, we've got an extra big intercooler because we have had issues with overheating. Hoped this would help with air extraction. And you can see intercooler with there. So we're really trying to cool it off to have full spark and better handling. And we've got an extra big intercooler in the front here, and really oversized, and that's why the fog lights are missing. We have no fog lights, and originally, because this is the GTS model, the high luxury model, what was really neat is those fog lights would adapt to the road. They're yellow, very much JDM style. We've had to have, of course, the lights here polished. The lights over time just get ruined. And now let's check out in the back, because we've got a standalone computer when you add all this extra modification, you've got to get the computer to come along for the ride as well. So beyond the aesthetics of this body kit that we've added on, which I think really helps, great styling to the MR2 off from the start, but we've added the body kit for a little extra look, and the Link engine management system, because just running everything off an AEM system with gauges and whatnot and trying to tune the original computer just wasn't enough. You'll need the standalone system when you're trying to get more power, more fuel, and more air into the system. So the whole mapping meant we had to go to the dyno, spent about $500 on the dyno. That's actually how the last engine blew. That was last year, so we've put a lot of work into this. We've got that engine with the ARP head studs. We've got the metal head gasket to avoid, of course, radiator fluid gets into your oil. That's a great way to have an overheating problem, and then an engine issue, and we still have an overheating problem. So we might have to add a fan, because there's no electric fan on this vehicle, and we're probably going to need that to get this vehicle cooled off. Now let's go for a ride. Let's jump on in, put the pedal to the metal. All right, so first of all, changing the shocks has really helped with the bumps here. It's gotten a lot better at taking speed bumps and just general holes, bumps, whatever it may be. But this is a 1991 Toyota MR2, and I have switched the motors. This is the fourth motor. It still overheats, so just because you're getting a Toyota, if it's an old Toyota or you modify it in any way whatsoever, don't expect it to have that ultra high reliability that Toyota is known for. Now, even when we had a Toyota MR2 with a V6 Camry engine, a 6-cylinder Camry engine in it, we still managed to need an oxygen sensor. That was $800, but $95 in a Mustang. So let's see how this sounds here from first gear. Now the added power has made this thing very, very fast. So the added power has made this very fast. Now a 1991 Toyota MR2 was fast in 1991, and it was incredible on a racetrack in 1991. But the modern modified upgrades, such as the bar in the back, the needed added power to make this more modern and enjoyable really has helped out. Having a better shocks, higher quality shocks than the original Toyota ones, has really helped with bumps. Be careful. I wouldn't get the most track focused hard shocks. I'd actually try to go for a comfortable track shock, or more of a street racing shock, you could say. So try to find a nice balance. When I went to the parts guy, I asked my parts guy, I made it very clear, I want something that can handle the bumps, because I've had Toyota MR2s that are lowered with inexpensive track-focused shocks, and it made the ride unbelievably uncomfortable and unbearable. But now this is a very bearable ride. The handling is great. It's fun on twisty, windy road like this one here. And it's now extremely fast to about 100 kilometers an hour. Even with all the modifications and the 300 horsepower at the wheels, which is a lot better than the 240 horsepower at the wheels, at the engine that it had back in 1991. If you got the JDM spec one, I think it was about 220 horsepower in the US spec, the USDM. But another prone problem area, these have been third gear pulls. Another prone area is fourth and fifth gear. We had that Camry engine V6 in one of these to kind of be like a Lotus Elise style Toyota MR2, and we lost fifth gear altogether. So the synchros are weak in these transmissions. So keep that in mind. Change the synchros before you lose the gear, before you grind up all the gears all together. So before we do 5,000 kilometers, we're gonna open up the gearbox and definitely change the synchros for fourth gear, and maybe end up changing all the synchros just to make sure it's smooth, because we occasionally have problems with second as well. But sort of modernizing this vehicle has done it a great deal of justice, because these vehicles are legendary in styling. They're legendary in performance when compared to unmodified vehicles of their time, but I think the happy medium is to go for modifications that will still make this feel like a 1991, not to go over the top with visual modifications, but to just give it out a nice balance so it still very much looks like a 1991. Just bring it up to today's speed. So we're going to continue to drive this, continue to enjoy it. The exhaust, $2,000 in there, about $10,000 for the engine swap. So we're going to enjoy it before we open up the transmission and have the synchros changed. But do keep in mind, if you get an older Toyota, you're not going to be problem free just because it's older, and especially if you start modifying them. Most Toyotas do not like being modified, and you just got to keep it in mind. Put it in the budget. I'm here to help save you thousands. So I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. I'm going to be putting the pedal to the metal, but sorry, please like, subscribe, help us out here. And I'm sorry things aren't perfect with this vehicle. I wish I could tell you that was the case, but I don't want to just, paint a rosy picture. I always want to bring you the unbiased truth, really what's going on with all the vehicles, the long-term reviews. So we've got the 2017 Shelby GT350, we've got the 1999 Porsche 911, and the 2025 Ford F-150. So if all that sounds good, we're long-term reviewing all those vehicles, and on a monthly basis we usually take on a new complete vehicle, keep it for a few days or a week, and give you a review on that. So if all that sounds good, or you just want to help us out, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn bell notifications on. I'm gonna go put the pedal to the metal. Take care, Godspeed, and God bless everybody. A little acceleration test.